definitely be following this person's research. And for those of you which are curious, you can check out the patent. It's number US 8004250B2. In fact, I'll upload it to our Discord server for anyone who wants to dive into it. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy it, please hit that like button and subscribe for daily dives. Sharing the video also helps us reach people who haven't yet discovered the channel. But for now, stay safe, stay well, and stay curious. Until next time. All reactions in these videos are for entertainment purposes only. Any advice given should be treated as entertainment as well. Viewers are responsible for conducting their own research into any subjects discussed in the videos before taking any action based on the information provided.